is out. Frame is readjusted. Jack stands are in the back now. You guys might notice these very strong mounts. This very strong frame. I had to remake the original factory brackets. I cut them, welded them at a 90, and then dropped them down about 4 inches here. And that's actually where I need it to sit. I know this looks like a lot, but we held the tire up here and it sits perfect. It's just all of this frame needs a lot of reinforcement. Now, since I have the tube bender and a bunch of tube, I'm thinking that I'm gonna bend off of here, do some tube work coming up into the frame here, come off of the frame, come off of the fender here, because the fender's actually made, this whole frame part's actually made, or sorry, the tub is actually made out of pretty thick metal and it's pretty strong, and it's got good supports to the actual frame. So, off the frame to the tub, down to here, then down to the transaxle mount. We got so much work to do in here to get this frame nice and strong, supported, to get the actual 820. And the nice part is we're actually going to use the original, some holes in here. I only got to drill one more, and the 820 will just sit right on the bottom of here. So virtually the 820, getting it on mounted in, super easy. But that's not the hard part. Making this all nice and strong and actually look cool is the hard part. And some front mounts, because like we've always said, the 820s need the 2 back mounts, and of course the 2 front mounts. Let's do this. Alright, so as you guys have probably seen, the top of the Transaxle has the skid plate on it. And now we have a full bottom plate. Now, we're actually going to hop back about, I think, a month ago to actually when I built this skid plate, and my old me, or previous me, will go over exactly how I built that in the top one so we can get you all caught up to date. So we'll hop back there to go over so that we can actually get further along in the process, because we're actually going to start mounting this into the mower. But first we're going to get these painted, because they're all actually done now. We just got to get the bolts finalized and get these actually installed. So we're going to get these painted. You guys are going to hop back and we're going to go forward. So let's get her done. Hey everyone, hope you guys are enjoying the channel. We've been working hard. I've been busting my balls in here, giving a shit on all the mowers and putting out the content as quick as I can. Again, I'm not a pro editor. I'm learning along the way, but I hope you guys are liking it. Anyways, we're starting a new build. Peerless 820 has showed up. We actually have 2 of them. The first one went into Magnum, the mower. If you guys want to see how that mower was built, check out the channel. Go scroll down. You can find it there. We're going to be getting right to this build. Now, the mower ain't even here. It's still stuck up in the snow at the cabin, so I still have to go get that. But before I even get it here, I figured I can get this whole transaxle built. I can get it welded. I can get the axle shafts put back in, fully greased. I'm going to put grease nipples in it, and I'll show you guys that a little bit down the road. And of course, a fully custom skid plate top and bottom. That's what I'm actually going to start with right now. So, the first thing I want to do is start blueprinting this out and get it figured out what I want to use, how I want to use it, where I want to weld it, how I want it to bolt on and stuff like that. It's going to be another big build, but again, this is taking a mower that came factory with a 5-speed side shift manual with a 3/4 inch transaxle, which means, when I say that, which means the transaxle came with axle shafts that are only 3/4 inch in diameter, which are very weak. They tend to bend, and the casings themselves tend to be cracked. If you guys want to learn more about the 820, I have a video all about that. Anyways, I've tapped these 2 holes out to 3/8. You don't have to drill them out, just run your tap straight into them and it works freaking mint. Both sides. Now again, this transaxle has to be supported well to the mower, so I'm going to use 4 points of contact, which are the 2 mounting bolts here, the 2 side ones here, but I only use 1/2, so a 3/8 bolt for a mount, and then this side as well, the top one, and then this side mounting, so 4 points of contact. So let's get to how I'm going to lay out the skid plate. Alright, so as you guys probably see, getting some work done. So I decided to do the flat bar over the top, and then the 3/16 3-inch plate here, and wrap that around the bull gear. So that will be nice and solid. Alright, so I've gone ahead and tack welded everything into place. I know, it's looking pretty rowdy right now. I'm loving the look of it. I just added in this little mesh here, just to fill in the gap there. Stop any sticks from getting poking in or whatever. I know it's not nothing, it's literally just for looks. Stuff's gonna get packed in here, but that's the beauty of a pressure washer. Spray it out. You should be cleaning your mower every rip anyways. But we ended up making, it's hard to see, but we made a spacer that we welded into here to hit this 3/8 hole that I tapped. And then it also gets bolted on to, this is the opposite side of the brake. So the brake's on this side. Now I'm not using these brakes, but I just kept them on for the hell of it. And I got this full cover here so that you can mash on and not hit the disc once we flip it for the hydro brakes. I got these two 3/8 bolts locked into this plate that gets welded on. I got a nice little solid square tube up front here, so I can build off of that for the front if I want. And then I still have this mounting bolt in the back once I cut this tab. And then again, I tap these two bolts to fit M8s, just like everything else. Now the only thing I'm thinking of doing is I have this tab for M8s on both sides, and I'm thinking of just drilling it out and then just running just a straight M10 right through, and then when the top plate, if it gets mounted to the top there, just bolting it straight through. So I'm gonna drill these through because I think that's a solid way of going about that. So it's coming along pretty good. I got the back bolted down to this tab, again M8s tap through, same with this side. This is all 1/8 inch, and then the bull gear cover and these two plates are 3/16 flat bar, and then I just rounded over to fit the case nice. Kind of see I also gave this a little bit of roundness as well. Super solid. Now to get onto the top and figure out how I'm actually going to mount this to the mower. Now I don't even have the mower here. I got this big Raptor quad, John Deere, and then Musty trike in the background and stuff, so can't get to that yet, but I can start fabbing up. The top one isn't going to be as crazy as the bottom, just because the bottom's going to be seeing a lot more abuse. So let's get this thing fully welded and then see what else we can get onto. Next thing we're going to be working on is the top. Get that all tack welded, and let's get onto that right now. Boom. Alright, flopped over to the top. So as you guys can see, I got some 3/16 3-inch plate. Alright, so as you can see, and those are over 4 of the mounting holes. So I'm going to put 4 bolts straight through this plate. Same on that side. And then build a top brace at a 2-inch, 1/8 metal that goes up, bends flat, and over this hump. With that all built, that'll look nice and strong, and we can get out on the trails mowing and mash it off anything and not worry about warping the case, cracking the case, splitting the case, or bending anything. Way better setup than running just your bolt-in factory bolt holes and just using 2 of these mounts onto your frame. That's not going to hold up to what we do anyways, but that may work for you. Anyways, let's get into this. Let's get building and bending. Alright, so there it is. Top skid plate. Gonna take it to my dad's place to finish doing the welding there, but we got the full cover of the bull gear top and bottom. That's our whole skid plate all in one. Damn, that's super nice. And again, we're using through bolts through here and on the end casing, so again, this will be super strong. I'm loving how this is going. Oh, you may be wondering what this hole's for. I'm thinking in the future I'm going to tap this out and put a grease nipple fitting right there so that we can grease this without having to open it. Because it'd be nice to get more grease in more frequently, and a little bit of oil maybe, so we can do a hybrid mix. But tap this, put a little grease nipple in there, then boom, just reach around to the back of your mower, put your grease gun on it, grease your axle. So rock on, I'm loving it. So now that you guys are all learned up on how the skid plates are built and how they're installed and stuff, we got it installed actually into the lawnmower here. So it's looking freaking awesome. Alright, I have been making a lot of progress, and I don't really know where I left off on the filming, but as you guys can see, I got the crossover tube in here. So on both sides now, I have tubes that connect up to the frame there, up to the front. And now the next thing I'm going to actually do is, as you can see, these two tubes parallel each other. I'm actually going to have a nice tube bent at a 45 down to the front of the transaxle, over and then back up. So I already kind of got it jigged up in the Rogue Fab M600 tube bender. I'm going to get that tube bent, and it will make some more sense once it's in there, but I'm really liking how this is coming along. I've also been doing a few other things. I got the front axle all painted up and fully welded. I did a bit of brazing on it as well, just to make sure that I got good seepage, I guess, into that cast, because I'm welding mild steel to the cast steel. put in the axle shafts and all that kind of stuff. But we got our ride height now. We held up the tire. It's looking perfect. We're gonna have to clean up some fender edges and stuff. The only other big thing that kind of changed in the scenario of the transaxle in this spot is that the height, and if you come around back here, the rear transaxle pulley is a little bit, and you might be able to get the angle, it's a little bit higher up than the actual clutch. So the nice beauty part of owning a lathe and, well, noticing things are all sloppy is having the ability to change it. So we're gonna actually I don't know if, well, I can't say it right now. I know the future me will probably be changing this, but I'll probably be rebuilding this whole clutch setup. But at this point, I'm only just gonna adjust the clutch that I'm just gonna cut it a little bit and raise up so that it meets the new transaxle pulley. But I can tell that future me is probably just gonna rebuild the whole thing because that's just the way I do it. Now that the transaxle's mounted and this new front tube's installed, we can start getting the front mount on. We're gonna have a big dirty front mount so that the transaxle is, all the brute forces are getting pushed up into the frame like any other transaxle, but we have these nice big plates with the up tubes into that actual frame. And then off of that, we're gonna have a nice big tube coming across here that meets this top mount. If that makes any sense. So much rambling. Let's get to some more building. What are we doing next, Tony? What are we doing here? I don't even know. Steering, yeah. I guess Tony did some work on the steering, so let's get up there and I'll show you guys what Tony did. Or maybe he can show you guys what he did.
Well, it's not much, but this is what I did. I just cut a couple of triangles out of here and here just to make sure when our steering post goes down, it's going to have enough clearance to go where we want it to. So in this steering setup, we actually have U-joints, which is just going to make it so unreal. We're going to be able to get some good small angles, minimal resistance, make sure it's a nice solid steering setup. And having these holes gives us the room to have these U-joints. Our angles will be perfect. It should be golden.
Right. The next day, let's go over some of the work. A lot's been getting done, and I'm liking it. Alright, so I've been plugging away at this rear transaxle mounting, and as you guys can see, I got that crossover beam in there. I was going to use a big thick tubing, but I found out that the pulley is going to hit that. You guys can see the pulley is going to be hitting this. So welded that in, and then kind of hard to see, but I welded some angle iron in here as well so that I connected the frame to the side chunks as well. Then I'm gonna actually fill in this void here with some square tubing and weld that all up. So the next thing I need to do is connect the front of the transaxle to the frame, or these mounts. I'm actually gonna do this crossover tubing where my finger is and come over up in the top here and then connect to this hole right there. So that's what I'm gonna be up to, and then the other side's gonna be actually a little different just because the brakes on that side. But let's get right into what I'm doing on that piece and we'll get that stuff installed for you guys. As you can see, got the crossover tube made with the weld-on plate here. So that will go in line with that other tube, and I notched it out so that got nice clean weld on there. So off of there, I'll build a little tab that comes welded down, and then to this bolt hole, I just got to cut this bracket out just a little bit. But all in all, turning out great.